Now you see, this is your strategic pillars of national strategy for financial inclusion. We will be looking into a NCFE works in line to national strategy of financial inclusion. These are the 6 pillars that you have. Mainly, we are trying to see how technology can be used for having a sustainable financial inclusion model. Okay, in all these 6 dimensions, technology is very important, which is going to come and play a key role. Now, it has to be like the conclusion is like we need to make these services easily available, accessible 24 into 7, and affordable. Let's say I bring in an insurance policy for people, but this policy premium is very high. That means it goes out of your reach. Okay, you have to bring the rates down. So micro insurance is something, a unique product where with a very basic nominal amount of premium, you can cover your essential items in your livelihood. Okay, so this is for a poor class, people who cannot afford. So according to the need, you have to change your product features, you have to change product pricing, and you see, you need to make it affordable for the party who is involved. So something has to be there. Well, let's go forward. So now you see, here you have universal access to financial service, which is being discussed here, point number 1. Now how we are going to do it is like banks are supposed to increase their outreach. Okay, you open a branch. If you cannot open a branch, use this concept of business facilitator or banking correspondent, so that you hire someone from village and give him the task of covering at least 5 to 7 villages in the neighborhood, so that you see, villager need not to pay it for traveling. It is bank who is coming to their doorstep. Okay, this is what is important. Second is like you may give various terminals, you have this point of sale machine. You can give it to various vendors, small shopkeepers in village, and you see, they can start doing small transactions, collecting money, making payments. Those points can be used as a off-site ATM points. You don't have a ATM where bulk withdrawal can be done, but you have these POS machines where vendors may distribute, or they may dispense some little amount of cash, because villagers may not require heavy cash withdrawal. For heavy cash, you can go to nearby full-fledged branch. Okay, now next is like they can bring in an ecosystem where digital financial services are catered in almost every major cities. Okay, so here you have classified your cities from tier 2 to tier 6. So these cities do have sufficient amount of infrastructure in place. You see, railway stations having Wi-Fi environment. You see, go to various tier 2 to tier 6 cities, you'll find here their infrastructure is all good. You remember a smart city campaign was there. You see, smart cities were identified looking into their existing infrastructure and their possibility of supporting this technology enabled environment where Wi-Fi is easily available, accessible. You see, Wi-Fi cost is not much, but you see, you should have an infrastructure in place so that we can give this service to everyone. And you see, may not be now, but after a decade, this internet cost may be going to be very low for whereby people from BPL segment may be also able to access it. Okay, leveraging financial technologies, fintech is the buzzword now. Okay, so if you look into the fintech, you'll understand that financial service providers are trying to adopt these innovative approaches using virtual mode. Nowadays, you see, mobile apps are coming up very fast. Banks are developing their apps. This development process is done keeping in the interest of the stakeholder youth. They don't want to move. They are very, very, very efficient in terms of utilizing resources. If you give them something which they can use of their own at their place 24 into 7, you see, you need not to find them in your branch. It will help you to reduce your crowd in your branch. Okay, let's say self-service technology terminals are given outside the branch. So customer need not to enter into branch. They'll do it outside. Passbook updation, cash deposit, cash withdrawal, checkbook request, everything can be done there. The only thing is like customers should know how to do it. So training has to be given to them. Awareness about this infrastructure needs to be there. You see, I did a study recently where it was found that even though we have so many services available in ATM, but majority of people, even in major cities, they don't know much about it. They're only using limited number of facilities in an ATM, like cash withdrawal, cash deposit to some extent. But what about other facilities? There are so many facilities which customer don't know. Hence, they are not able to use it. So awareness is the key to this. Okay. And then you see, the entire infrastructure is to be developed keeping your target audience into mind. You see, you cannot bring in a new platform where it may be very tricky, very complex for your consumer to use. Illiterate people, how they can be trained on using an ATM machine? Hmm? Skillfully, that too skillfully, without any fraud chance. So now you see, this is point number two, which tells you something about the basic bouquet of financial services. Now here they are trying to tell you what type of different instruments are there in use. So we brought in Jandan scheme, we brought in various insurance schemes, uh, various Bima Yojanas, and now pension scheme also. You see, earlier days government employees were getting pension, but now this, like you see, pension element has gone. Okay, only gratuity and provident fund in certain cases will be there, but pension is a concept which is gone out of the picture. But you see, what we have got is, like, we have got something called as new pension scheme, where individual will contribute, and then you see this money is going through you see these companies called as asset management companies. So they manage your fund, they put your investment into some good stocks, and again ultimately it is in your capital market these investments are being made. And you see, till the time you retire, your money is getting multiplied according to market condition, and finally you get, you see, you may get a lump sum value, or you may get an annuity as per your need. You see, this is helping you to get some sort of replacement for your conventional pension plans. Okay, now let's go to the next. Capacity building exercise is done when you train your your business facilitators or banking correspondents. So what is going to happen is, like, you see, every village is getting covered. Capacity building exercise is there, which affects the parent entity. To what is parent entity here? Any the bank with which this business facilitator is connected, business correspondent is connected. So they are going to have a capacity building thing when they enroll more of business facilitators, and when they train them on various exercises. You see, skill is going up. And then one more thing which is new to this system, public credit registry, PCR, is, like, you see, I've not heard about this before this presentation. Maybe it is there, it is in discussion, but usually we find so much of information, so sometimes some relevant piece of information is not covered or captured in our memory. So you see, public credit registry is another term which has come to this limelight after this presentation. You see, it has been fully operational since March 2022. So now it is March 2023. 1 year already completed. Public credit registry. What is this? This agency is keeping a track record of, or like, whatever credits is outstanding. Okay, like you remember CIBIL score, Credit Information of Information Bureau of India Limited. So they give individual scores in terms of any default or something, and then these scores are used for loaning purpose. Similarly, there is a register where we are keeping a record of every loan transaction for individuals in India. Okay, next is, like, access to livelihood and skill development. This is what I was telling it to you. Now you see, skill development is very important, and in line to this, there are so many programs, initiatives which have been started by government. There are so many skill development centers where short-term and long-term courses are run. State governments and center government, they are funding these programs. The ultimate aim is to give a way out. First is to develop their skill, and then this, like, this generation should be given exposure to a practice or training which helps them to have a self-sufficiency in terms of income generation. Okay, you need not to rely on someone for a job. You learn it and you can start your own setup. Yani you can start your own venture, business venture. Okay, so stitching, achar making, buddy making, football making. So you see, these all tasks are done by ladies. Okay, so at their home, what they need is, like, first is they need a formal training. They need to know some sort of awareness on how they can sell what they're producing at their home. Okay, if it meets to some set standard, you see, their final product which they are developing can be sold to market. So access to market is again you see, government has again taken initiatives to connect to these SHGs, self-help groups, joint liability groups, and whatever agencies are there who are trying to develop certain products of their own, and then they are trying to showcase it to market, where big businesses, they require these items as an input. Okay, so the hand holding is very important. So hand holding these newly financial organizations, which may be in the form of self-help group, ladies group, or micro entrepreneurs, so is very important. Once you give them an exposure, then next stage is, like, where you give them an exposure or coverage in terms of banks. Then you have, yeah, you see, you have your uh, formal system. You see, get them an access to your various uh, positions holding people. Any, let's say, sarpanch, you do have block development officer, you do have you see, your village, particularly village, is having some uh, official representation from government. So whatever is your system in place, people, these institutions, these young entrepreneurs should be given an exposure to them, so that you see what happens is like market linkages is improved. National Skill Development Mission is another program where you can see it in detail. So many agencies with lots of you see huge amount of budget spent by government on just skill development and livelihood. Once you do it, the people get a reason. You see, when you go to village, ask them for some financial literacy program, they'll say, I'm not doing anything. First, you have to give them a way out. First, you have to train them so that they can do something. Once they know their strength, you see, everyone will have some unique points. You need to identify them. This identification and skill development part is the first thing. And once it is honed, yani they are skilled enough to produce something. So now their production is to be taken to market. Is again, government is going to facilitate this. Now, next is like financial literacy and education. You see, financial literacy module, which is actually a module from NCFE, is like there are so many modules are there where NCFE is doing it through various regulators. So you are bringing in digital kiosk and mobile apps, which helps people to learn more on about financial like issues. So the process of process of grievance redressal and many other things. So you're trying to disseminate information through multiple levels, multiple modes. Then you do have Center for Financial Literacy in every block. Okay, so these do have block in charge. So their target is to create some sessions regularly so as to cover every corner of your country. Next is like you have grievance protection, customer protection and grievance redressal mechanism. So now you see here you have a, you're what you're trying to make is like you're trying to make very robust grievance portal. Portal means this portal or the place at which you can lodge your complaint. It can be a mobile app driven facility or it can be a website driven facility where you see lodging complaint is very easy. If you make certain technical hurdles, your customer may not be using. Let's say I give you an example. Let's say I'm trying to lodge a complaint for a bank. On their website, I'm not able to get this page. Awareness is like they don't have any path mentioned clearly how to lodge a complaint. This may be a problem. Second, when I'm trying to lodge a complaint, they're asking me something technical. Let's say customer ID number. So usually customer is aware about customer account number, but customer ID, which is information available with banker, if you start asking such information, means you see you are indirectly demotivating people to go forward for such things. So you need to make it user friendly. Let's say I put my date of birth, I put my name, I put my PAN number. With this system, will be able to track it, and I'm simply able to lodge my complaint. Centralized database is there. Okay, so you can also put up toll-free numbers so that people can call on these numbers and can resolve their doubts by asking them questions. And these toll-free numbers can be in regional languages to support. Okay, initially it can be with few, but somewhere down the line you have to cover all languages that are there in India. So state-wise or like according to language speaking areas, you can put up different toll-free numbers. And then coordination between various regulators is important. Standalone work is not possible, so you have to like delegate and you have to plan for it, and every periodic interval you have to interact on the various happenings so that you have a very coordinated uh, effort. So effective coordination is what we are discussing. It is required at grassroots level. If you don't have it, you will not be able to use your limited resources in a very optimum manner. Okay, optimization is the key. So now you see, in this case, I'll give you one example. National Center for Financial Education nowadays, whatever sessions they are planning across India, they are trying to cover all those events through some geo tagging on their picture. Whatever pictures are clicked during the session, they are doing geo tagging where place, date, everything is getting clearly mentioned. Now, with this, element of fraud cannot be possible. That you are doing a session in Punjab and you can show it in let's say in New Delhi or in Haryana. It is not possible because we are using technology to eliminate this element of audit, physical audit. So physical audit is getting replaced, means resources are now used in a better manner as compared to what it was earlier. So this is all for improving the coordination. Now next is like we do have how to quantify financial inclusion. So let's go forward fast, little bit faster. So we can measure financial inclusion through three dimensions. One is excess, second is usage, and third is quality. Okay, when I say excess means where are you going to interact? Customer and service provider. It can be a physical branch, it can be a digital off-site location, okay, through an ATM or kiosk or something else. Now, usage can be how many accounts have been opened, how much amount of loan has been granted, people are taking insurance policy, number of policies, number of cashless transactions, and the amount of remittances. These are the various utilizations of your services by customers. So you can see this also. And finally, what type of quality means, if you don't have any grievance in your portal, what it means, it indicates that quality is good. But if you have good number of grievances there, that is where it is a problem. Okay, so surveys are to be done regularly. After measurement, you see broad indicators to measure excess. Excess is one key area. So you need to see how many branches do you have per lakh of adult, how many ATMs you have per lakh of adult, how many POS machines, point of sale machines. Like you go to a hotel, you take food, you don't pay in cash, but you swipe your debit card. Is like this is point of sale machine that we are discussing here. So if it is high, on a higher side, it is a good indication that people do have good amount of infrastructure available in place. Number of business correspondent per lakh. You see these ratios are calculated to see whether your excess is there or not. Now we need to measure usage. So in usage also we already covered the various types of accounts. So you try to check in terms of percentage of adults that have been covered for accounts, percentage of MSME having an access to formal credit, any loans involved, and then similarly to all these things like percentage of adult saving pension. You see, even though people are aware, they are not going forward for it. So again, certain hurdles are there, so we need to look for those hurdles, and then if possibly we can remove some of them is what is important. So it will help us to improve the usage of financial services. Next is like how to ensure quality is there. Now you see, for quality we can have grievance redressal system, reporting of problems by customer as a key point where we can see them, and then financial literacy and capacity building exercise. You see, you can create awareness, you can ask questions, you can do surveys, you can do it regularly so as to map the skill set of your audience. And now this is what is quality. Okay, once you keep doing it regularly over a period of time, people will understand that there is a rationale for doing it, and maybe you will get the result desired output. You see, national strategy for financial education or financial inclusion is being discussed in this presentation. So you see, this is a very heavy job of regulator to do it using the various financial service providers, including banks, insurance companies, mutual funds, credit rating agencies, and so many. And ultimate beneficiary is your consumer. So this is all about a national strategy for financial inclusion or education. You see, this is in line to OECD strategy at global level. India is doing it at our local level. So with this, I thank you all for watching this video.